I'm going to show you guys how to smooth your surface out, okay? There's a couple different ways you can do this. You do need a little bit of extra clay, possibly, so I've just got some extra clay here that I'm going to use. I may not need it, but I may need it, so it's good to have that on hand. You're going to need a rib, and remember, these are either wood, metal, and they're also come in plastic. They're all different kinds of shapes and sizes, so this is not the only shape that you'll see with a rib. I prefer using these metal ones for this particular step of the project for smoothing, but you'll find that a lot of ceramic artists, especially potters, people who work on the potter's wheel, will use quite a lot of these ribs, and a lot of times they'll use all three different kinds. And they use it just to help them kind of pull the edges of their clay up when they're spinning on the wheel. So what I'm going to do, it's really best when you do this to kind of wait for the project to dry out just a little bit to the point where it's on, could be considered leather hard. So leather hard, what you'll find with the clay is that it'll feel very cold as it dries out. Leather hard clay, you can still press it and make a dent in the clay, but it does take some force to do that. So it's not quite as soft as that first time you got the clay. If the clay's really soft, smoothing out can be actually really hard. You might end up just denting it more. So waiting till it's a little bit on the more of the leather hard stage is best. So a lot of this stuff up here at the top is new addition. So I'm going to focus my attention on the bottom because this is still really soft. When you do this, a lot of people make the mistake if they use the wrong side of this, okay? A lot of people assume that they should use the round side because their projects might be really round. I find, to be honest with you, that most of the time I'm using the straight side. Because if I take this, okay, if I take this, it's bowed out this way, and I put it on here like this, scrape it along the side of the project, I'm actually going to put just a line in my project. I'm not going to actually smooth it out. So the flat side is the side you're going to be using most of the time. And when I use this, I put this in my hand, like I put it, most of my fingers are on the back, and I kind of palm it like this, and I do bend it. So I just bend it slightly. I'm not bending it to the point where the rib is actually creased or folded. I don't want to fold this, because again, that'll create an edge that will just scrape my, scrape and put indentations in my project. So I'm just going to bend it slightly, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape the outside of this. And what it does is it takes all those high points off, okay? So it starts to level out the surface. So I'm just going to kind of scrape this. And I do like to scrape in different directions, and you can see this is how much clay I'm getting off of the surface. That's fine. But I do like to go over it in different directions if possible. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But after I do this for a little bit, you can kind of see what's happening. Sometimes what happens when you do this is you can see that some divots or like sort of low points sort of kind of come up to the surface. And in that case, I could keep scraping until I shave those off. But another solution to that is to take those low points, just score them a little bit, take a little pinch of clay. You guys got the water? Let me have the water. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on my finger. I'm going to put it on there. I'm not going to bother with scoring and slipping this little piece of clay that I'm going to put on there. I'm just going to basically patch it up. It's just like if you go golfing and you put a divot in on the course, you got to patch it up. It's the same thing. And then I just score right on top of it and it flattens it out. Other stuff too, after I scrape a little bit, I do take my hand over the surface and I just kind of take my fingers and smooth it out. Kind of take some of those little pieces of clay off that are coming off of the rib. And that helps too. I am not adding any more water to this, so I'm not putting my hands in the water and smoothing out the surface. That is probably the biggest mistake people make, is that they think, okay, I need to smooth this out. Water's the answer to that. What will happen is, again, guys, you gotta remember, The water, what it does is it basically just kind of breaks down the clay, makes it weak. So you could come in the next day and see your project a pancake, which has happened before. So it was standing one day, and then the next day it was flat. And I asked the kid what happened, what did they do different the day before, and they said, oh, I was just smoothing it out. And I said, did you by any chance put water on your hands when you were smoothing it out? And the answer was yes, and that was the problem. So I just scrape it, go over this with my hands, kind of smooth it out a little bit more, and then you'll get it. So you'll just go over the surface like that. And again, you'll be taking off these little shavings. That's normal. This stuff can just get wedged back up, okay? So that's how you smooth. That's it.